a Nigerian journalist by the name of Segun Olatunji recently spent 14 days in military custody after he was arrested from his home in Lagos for an unspecified offense. He was only released after a rather untidy back and forth between 3 press representative unions and the Nigerian military high command. This was the latest in what has progressively been a persistent love-hate relationship between the two critical institutions in Nigeria. Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now to discuss concerns over escalating attacks on journalists by Nigerian security personnel and how to build and sustain synergy between both parties. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the program.
Pleasure being here.
Good afternoon.
Right.
Right. I'm sure you have a lot of inputs to make on this tragic incident and, of course, its relation to other incidents of the same nature. What's your take of what transpired to Segun Olatunji?
Well, you know, I am bound to be protective of the rights of journalists. That's how it should be. He was poorly treated. You get me? He was poorly treated. They took away his freedom and his dignity and did not show respect for his profession and his sense of professionalism. But it's not him alone. There was another lady, Onshonibare, for another institution, who was harassed similarly. This is an ancient feud, professional feud between government and press. But now, between the security agencies, who are agents of government anyway, and the press. I frown at it, I condemn it, and I think, like many media organizations have said, they should make redress for the shoddy manner they have treated both journalists. But then, having said that, let us look at the issue of reportage of violence nowadays. Because we are in an era of violence, whether you like it or not. There's so much pervasive security. That was the day we were doing press review here. And almost all the pages were about deaths, torture, terrorism, and all that. And it wasn't as if the editors had a meeting that was just mere coincidence, which means that is what is on the ground. But it means at the same time that there is over reportage of violence. It's not an issue it's not a young issue as such. It's been there. In areas where we have war, civil unrest, we have agitations. When the security forces move in, the reportage is somewhat slanted towards the violence of the occasion rather than peacemaking efforts. I refer to the favorite phrase of some people now, kinetic and not kinetic. But that is in the war situation. Now we are talking of security people versus the press. In journalism, you are bound to be objective. Okay? You are expected to be objective. But invariably, you and I know our beliefs, our emotions, our ideology, our whims and caprices creep into what we see, what we say, and what we write. It's because we are human. But the important thing is to strive at objectivity. Try to sift through it. I was reading something of recent. You see, these social media platforms, a lot of information go into them. Now, Meta, the owner of Facebook, Instagram, and Thread, are trying to sift fact from fiction and misinformation. There are about 40 elections going on this year, including the American election. So they are trying to look at platform integrity to find out whether the stories are true, to use instruments, technological techniques, instruments to sift things they don't like and remove them. You get me? And add things that they think are facts where they are less. So some people have said they are trying to control the discussion, which is against a free press, but then something has to be done. Because the sort of things that go on social media, they are terrible. So, there must be a way that the technology industry must be able to sift fact from fiction misinformation from lies, and as much as possible, aim at getting truth published through the integrity of the platforms and the technology they use. But now, coming back to Nigeria again, I want to use an example. You see, we are talking of security forces. The army is there, the police is there, navy, and all that. In the past, they used to have professional journalists, you get me, manning their public relations section. But later, I think it was when Obasanjo came in, I said, what is important, what is fantastic about journalism? That they should not recruit from outside, they should train people from inside. But then, you know, that is lack of respect for professionalism, and it is working out. Why they detained Segun Olatunji was because he said the chief of army staff, there was a story that he was not leading his men well. If we had a public relations person, you know, he would have made contact, you know, had an informal meeting with them, try and correct that flaw in the reportage, and then they correct it and they go on from there. But if you have a combatant who was drafted to public relations, his first instinct is to fight and detain people and malhandle people, which is what is happening. So the authorities have to find a way to go back to recruiting professionals in communication. And communication, not just old professionals like me, I won't say you, because you are younger people, but people who have access to information technology and the techniques, who can manage platforms, who are digitally educated and digitally trained to disseminate information. If they have that, if our propensity, I say our propensity, I'm including myself now, to use an unfortunate word, to glamorize violence, because it sells more than peace stories. If we condition ourselves that, you see, the moment you publish something, some people take it as black and white. Some people don't believe there is disinformation. They think anything they read, anything they watch is the truth. You get me? Even if you point out grammatical errors or some errors, that this thing cannot come from that source. And they think we are talking nonsense because you have seen the video. They don't know that it is possible to put my head on another person's head and mimic my voice in another way. What they have had it, when they have seen it, that is the danger and terror, you get me, of misinformation and disinformation. So people need to be educated. Journalists too need to be continuously educated to sift fact from fiction and to know when a story can incite and cause trouble. Let me use a recent example. The killing of our soldiers just buried now. You can see the slant. You can see the slant in the reportage. The army is furious, indignant, is mourning. You get me? But once to bury is dead first. But people have reason to say that, or to almost say that it was the army that was the aggressor. Whereas the soldiers were victims of people who killed them. And they have families, they have, and I keep on referring to this. The chief of army staff was lamenting that they are still gathering vehicles, human beings, and human parts. That is very, very bad. Get me? So you must allow the army to grieve and mourn his dead. And at the same time, be able to allow the army to do its work. Because the army must deter, just as it must deter our enemies and protect us in the process. If you hamstring it, the mercy of terrorists. So there should be some balance in the reporting.
Well said, Mr. Sobowale. Now, when it comes to perhaps mediation efforts in order to foster a better relationship between journalists and the Nigerian security personnel, which body or organization needs to play that role just for things to move forward?
Mediation.
Yes.
We are not at war.
I didn't say we were. Okay, who would be the liaison?
Operational issues.
Okay.
Operational issues. To reduce it to Yoruba now, they say even the tongue and the teeth. Occasionally they get into conflict. They have to work with each other. The army cannot work in isolation. Police cannot work in isolation because they need, at least they will put notice if they want some people for crime or whatever, they will put it in. But you see, the police are doing a public service that is needed in society. If the bad eggs there do occasionally, you remember SARS now, you know the implication of SARS on the political terrain. So all these things are interrelated. There should be communication, continuous communication. You get me? And the security forces or agencies must find a way of bringing inside, on board, professional journalists. You get me? Who can interpret and tell them the psychology behind the news or the way they react to the news. You get me? And know that they must respect the opinions of people even when they are in their custody. That laws, their fundamental human rights laws. That's why, see, the only thing is, I don't like foreign agencies pointing out our flaws for us, like the global rights and all these human rights. I respect their work, but we have enough survey, enough knowledge and sophistication and civilization here to be able to know how to correct our security forces when they burn the rights of journalists or people who are supposed to hold government accountable, because that's what journalism is about at the end of the day. So I am all for objective journalism, peace journalism, not war journalism that glorifies violence and publicizes killing and maiming of people. I'm not saying they should not. But see, if you look at the events in Nigeria now, when they say they kill 20 people somewhere, you are not appalled because you are used to 100, 150 being killed, abducted. That's dehumanizing. That's dehumanizing society. So the press has immense responsibility in keeping the sanity of society intact in terms of evaluation and appreciation of human life and values. Let's leave it like that for now.
Right, Mr. Sobowale, thank you so much. Our time is up, but I know you will be holding on. Yes, I mean, there's somewhere I wanted to go, but I think next time we will have a deeper conversation. Thank you so much.